All right. This is a delicate subject. Delicate for some people because some people are delicate down there, but this is something that's below the belt. I've never really talked about that subject matter. So if you're a kid, don't listen to this. If you're past puberty and you've gone through a bunch and you understand, it still might not be for you. It's for people that can't perform. If a guy is not able to perform, that's because he's not selling enough tickets. No, that's not what I meant. If a guy can't perform, it means maybe you need some help. And if it's safe and it's good for you because the doctor says it's okay and you're a good candidate, you can do things like last longer and go a few extra rounds, probably run faster, jump higher. And I'm sure you want to be confident in everything you do. And dare I say sex? I mean, sex is an important thing. You go to the gym. Some people go to the shrink. They try to take care of themselves. And shrink is something you don't want to do when you're in bed with someone you care about or that you just met. What you want to do is go to BlueChew.com. BlueChew.com has the first ever chewable that brings your performance in the bedroom to another level. I'm talking a 5 out of 5. That's my metrics. So check this out right over here. This is the truth. They've got the same active ingredients that are in Viagra and Cialis, so you know that they work. And since they're chewable, they can work faster. They just work faster if you chew them. You chew them and you do them. What? You could take them anytime, day or night. Seriously, you could wake up from a nap. You could do anything. Have breakfast. Have some eggs and then scramble yours. You can have them on a full stomach, an empty stomach. I don't know. Do whatever you want with your stomach. And this stuff is cheaper than those other two meds, so this is a no-brainer. In fact, it's the small brain that's working here. Basically, if you like sex, and I know a lot of people that do, you'll like BlueChew.com. Plus, you don't need to go to the doctor's office or spend time waiting in the pharmacy line because that can be embarrassing. Okay, I've been called out one time, and when I found out the medical copay, I said, no, thank you. I'll just get my erection elsewhere. Blue Chew's online physician consult is free, and once approved, your order ships straight to your door in discreet packaging. It's not bright pink. It's discreet, and it's cleanly done. It's very, very safe, and you won't get paper cuts. I can't guarantee that, but I'm saying it. Now, here's a great deal for you guys. Visit BlueChew.com, and you get your first order free when you use promo code BOB. I'm so proud. My name is a promo code for BlueChew.com. And use the promo code BOB, and your first order is free. You just pay $5 shipping. Again, that's BlueChew.com, and the promo code is BOB. That's BLUE Chew.com. Promo code is BOB, B-O-B. And that way, when you get it going and you're all ready and it's all rock and rolling, you'll be thinking of me. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just go to BlueChew.com and think of the person you're with. Hey, welcome to a very incredibly special episode of my podcast, my show. My episode is with Norman Lear, the Norman Lear, the incredibly brilliant, wonderful man who is a friend of mine, which I'm shocked that I get to know this incredible human being, creator of so many shows, producer of All in the Family, writer of all these shows, Sanford and Son, Good Times, The Jeffersons, One Day at a Time, which is now on Pop after having left Netflix because he wouldn't let it go, this beautiful Latina version of the show. And he has a 3-year contract to continue to make it, and he's 97 years old. And he's brilliant. I don't have to tell you. You'll be listening for yourself. He has so many accolades. And what do they all mean? You'll find out what they mean to him as you're about to hear and see if you're on YouTube right now. But he's, the Peabody Award, Emmys, Kennedy Center honors, so many Writers Guild honors. I mean, the accolades are crazy, but he is all about the work and being a good human being and putting out love and caring about humanity. And we're going to get into it. So here comes my friend, Norman Lear. I just want to hug you so bad right now. Oh my, this is tough, but it's wonderful because we get to do this.
I love it.
But you've got to, everybody that's listening has to go on Instagram and see the Norman Lear and watch how he enjoys tangerine juice. I didn't know. I've been spending all my time trying to get tangerine juice, but
you can't find it.
I'm having trouble. But
no, it's not. It's everybody doesn't carry it.
No,
but we're going to continue this until everybody does.
I think the world, all the problems could be solved with tangerine juice. I really do.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it.
You got to send it to Washington. Fill up all houses with it. Nobody's in the house right now, but there's something that you've taught me, and I've tried to learn it through all the years. And when we started being friends, it was one of the greatest moments of my life. It's true because you're,
Well, it cuts both ways.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
But there's something about being in the moment and appreciating the moment. And
yes.
You're 97 now, and I wouldn't give your age out, but you're proud to give it out, and you're not the run of the mill 97, and you know that. And I'm knocking on all the wood that I have in the building, and there is wood to be had here. But
I like to think I wasn't a run of the mill 47.
No, that's my question. 50 years ago, did you have that be in the moment attitude, philosophy about life? I know you've changed so much throughout you've told me through all the different chapters of your life. But did you have that in the moment feeling throughout all of it?
I don't know how old I was the first time I thought. There were two little words in our language that we don't, what's happening? That we don't accent enough, or we don't understand, or we don't pay enough attention to. Over and next. When something is over, it's over.
Yes.
And we are on to next. But if there was a hammock connected to those two little words, over and next, lying in that hammock would be the best way I could express a definition of living in the moment.
I agree.
The hammock between over and next.
So it's so interesting. I mean, you and I met. Well, we weren't close, but I always looked up to you my whole life, and most people have. I've already listed all of your credentials, which are longer than. I mean, if someone is to IMDb,
did you mention 6 glorious children? I could not be prouder of.
That's right there.
I love that. Yeah.
So what I did was I went, and if anybody Googles, they're not going to have enough paper in their printer to print out your life and accomplishments. But this I know is your 6 glorious children and your beautiful wife, Lynn. And
is that the cast of the One Day at a Time also? Who's the guy on the right? On the left.
This is you know what it is? It is the cast. It's the cast, but then it says you're married to Lynn and your 6 children, Ellen, Kate, Maggie, Benjamin, Brianna, and Madeline. But that is the cast of One Day at a Time. That's the world we're in. Oh, and he has children. But you would say I say my biggest accomplishment now that I've grown up is my kids, my 3 daughters. And would you say your family is your biggest accomplishment?
Without any question. Without any question. And to know them is to understand why I can say that with such confidence.
When I see pictures of you and footage of you when you were doing All in the Family, when you were on the floor, when you were doing the warm-up for that show, it doesn't feel, but you're in play at that point. You're on game. You're in the middle of the most successful show on television that I never saw anything like it since. being there and seeing that it was 90 minutes to shoot an episode, and then you would do a second one right away. Is that how it went?
We did one at 5:00. Took notes, had a little bite to eat, and then did another one for a second audience at 8:00.
And I saw both in one day to see how it was done.
Uh-huh.
And then I mean, it was theater. It was the most brilliantly written. It was basically like watching a play. There were very few stops.
That was the intention, to do it as a one-act play. Bob, where were we shooting when you saw it?
CBS Television City.
Oh my God, that was early on.
Yeah.
That was before we moved over to Metro Media.
Right. Exactly. And it was it was palpable in the room that everybody had this mission that you had created, because it all starts from the top. You cast the most amazing people. But do you think you're a different person now than you were then? Or do you feel it's just another version of you?
I like to believe I've grown.
Well, you have.
I like to believe that's part of the course for all of us. But I will never forget the beginning of all of that. I remember doing the warm-ups. I loved doing the warm-ups, talking to the audience. That was a great kick.
Did people have questions for you from the audience?
Yeah, yes, they had questions. They had questions about what they were going to see and what they had just seen.
Right.
We talked before and after.
When you're in play and when you're working and you're in control of this giant thing that was this amazing piece of work, did you find yourself not devoting as much time to your family? Was it a difficulty? Were you having a split? Was your energy split emotionally?
I don't know if I was smart enough or sensitive enough to realize at the beginning in 1971, as I did in 1977, let's say, when it was clear to me that I had by then 5 or 6 children at home, and this is when I was doing the original One Day at a Time. I thought about it then because I had 2 kids in the show and 5 kids at home, or 6 kids. And the kids at the studio were getting more attention from me than my kids at home. At some point, that dawned on me. And I didn't know whether to feel proud or guilty or both.
Right. I went through that with the cast of Full House that were young kids. And I think my children, my 3 daughters, Aubrey, Laura, and Jenny, there's no way they couldn't feel that, because Aubrey was just 1 year younger than the Olsen twins, and I was changing their diaper when they were a year old on the set. And then I also did it when they were older, when they were in their 30s. No, that's a joke, actually. I never changed a young lady's diaper.
Because they're not in their 30s yet.
No, they are now. Ashley and Mary Kate are, Aubrey's 33 and they're 34. And there's still love there. And you've kept in contact with pretty much everybody, right? That's still around.
Yes, pretty much everybody. Not on a regular basis. I'm doing One Day at a Time again right now, and Mackenzie Phillips is part of it. I'm thrilled to say.
And that's emotional, because I just went through that. That must be full circle, beautiful for you in many ways, totally. Also. And with her, all of her things, obstacles that she's overcome.
Yeah, so it's also a terrific learning experience, because this is a Latino version.
Yep.
And so I'm working with writers that knew more. Well, one of them was herself, born in Puerto Rico. Gloria Estefan was a guest this week. That's why she's on.
Oh my!
but Gloria Collette, uh, fabulous writer.
Well, you'd done the impossible with that show, and I went through it with you. I mean, you Netflix said, no more. We've done enough, and you were so hurt that the cast, the crew, all these people didn't get to make this work anymore. And you did something that not a lot of people, some people can do it, but not a lot of people can do what you did, which is it's on Pop and it's doing incredibly well. And I remember your delight in that. Can you believe this? That I get to bring it back? And I guess it's okay. Yeah. You tell me if it's not okay to share that you had to sign a 3-year contract.
Well, I think I signed a 3-year contract because one of the great men of the Western world, Tony Vinciquerra, who runs the Sony lot, he wanted to be around, or he wanted me to be around as I turned 100. So that's why I was offered the contract at 97.
Well, you're going to live way past 100. I mean, I think you need to go for 180. I mean, that's a lucky number. So
180?
180. It's not a big thing.
That's not, no. That would be a first, I think. But,
maybe.
But I'd enjoy it.
Would you say and then you everybody knows all the shows that you made. Jimmy Kimmel and you have been doing this amazing resurgence of All in the Family and the Jeffersons and recently Good Times. Yeah. Are there more of those that we would plan for after we're able to get back to our new normal?
I think there's every intention to do more, yeah.
Do you love, is that another full circle amazing experience to sit in that booth with Jimmy, who's one of the sweetest people in the world?
I couldn't care more for him.
Yeah.
But, the three of us, we should have a lunch one day, because that would be great for me to be with the two of you. He's a great guy.
I agree. He's a friend, and he is as genuine as you are. But you've mentored, I would say, anyone of any intelligence and talent. You are a mentor for so many people that regard you and know what you've.
Well, that's time. You get to be 97. You've met and been helped and collaborated with by a lot of people.
I know.
Life is a collaboration. I didn't do any of this alone.
No, that's true. But you're also. Well, that okay. But I was going to list like Seth MacFarlane, Judd Apatow. Everybody looks at you with the highest of regard, and you're kind of the Obi-Wan Kenobi to everyone. Please just want to be in your presence. And Jeff Garlin was just telling me how he adores you and wants to be able to connect with you when things are clear and safe. But my question, and I thought about what do I want to ask you? I mean, we're friends. We talk. We have these cigar nights, which are unbelievable.
Describe the cigar night.
My question is, who did this for you? Who did you look at and go, my God, this person helped change me to become the man that I became at different points in your life? Are there specific men or women that, or is it just a giant collaboration of all the greatness of people?
No, I just sent my daughter Madeline a copy of a book I had printed. I don't know. She's 25. This could have been 35. Could have been 40 years ago. I fell in love. My favorite writer in the English language is George Bernard Shaw, and I can't get over what I believe he has brought to my life. I didn't know him, but reading Bernard Shaw, and I just sent her a small book. I found that he had made a group of religious speakers speeches on religion. He didn't. It wasn't his writing. I guess he wrote these speeches, but he delivered them. They weren't printed. I found them all those years ago. I don't remember how anymore, but I remember I had the University of Pennsylvania Press. How I happened to be in touch with them, I don't know, but they printed a couple of hundred books for me, and I gave them out at Christmas to a bunch of friends and whatnot. And I've got 4 or 5 left, and I came across one of them recently. I just sent it to my daughter who's working, and one of my daughters, Madeline, who's working in D.C. I can't wait for her reaction to them. So Bernard Shaw expressed feelings about and thoughts about religion like nobody else, for me anyway. And she's deep into thinking about these things, and I just sent it to her yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Were they specific on religion, or was it more general?
No, these were speeches to different places over a course of years about religion, about his belief in God, or disbelief in this situation, belief in that situation.
Right.
His feelings about God. I adore them.
What would you say is your takeaway? I mean, religion and politics are two things that I'm trying not to. There's so many people that have so many opinions, and so much. That's why I wanted to do this podcast. There's so much dissension in our midst that we wish wasn't here. That we all wish, as a collective humanity, it's so clear that all, the cliches of love and compassion, which are kind of the mantras of your life. Mm-hmm. It's kind of why the Norman Lear Center exists, right? Is that the foundation for why you started that?
Well, that came about as a result of 2 friends, Marty Kaplan and Jeff Cowan, both connected to USC at the time. Jeff was the dean of one school or another, and who came to me and suggested we start the center. They had the idea. I loved the idea. I was flattered by it, and I loved everything they've done since. That was a lot of years ago.
Well, would you mind telling the listeners the audience, our friends, what the basis of the center is and the foundation?
Well, it's built to study the impact of various efforts on the culture. You see a news story. What was its impact over time? And that's what Marty Kaplan did at the beginning of and continues to do to this day at the center, studying the impact of everything we do in comedy, everything we've done in entertainment on the culture.
Well, we're gonna do something professional. I'm gonna take a very short break and let people know some of the things they have no idea that you had your hand in. And not people, but because you're not like that. That was a lascivious joke, Norman. And we'll be right back as you process what the hell I'm trying to do. We'll be right back. Hey, so I've got something to talk to you guys about. It's kind of personal. Because, it's in an area down below the belt, which can affect a lot of our lives. And a lot of people get uncomfortable with this subject, but I don't. But if you're younger and you haven't reached puberty yet, I don't think it applies. And I don't even think you have to think about this till you're in your 20s. But look, I'm 64 years old. So I have experienced this issue maybe, I don't know, once, twice, 400 or 500 times. But it's about sex, and it's about not being able to be at your full performance. And I know that because I'm a racehorse, and I have to be a stud when I'm at Santa Anita, which is a racetrack in California. But the important thing that I want to talk about is something that's, it's about BlueChew.com. That's right, BlueChew.com. They are a place that offer men a performance enhancement for the bedroom. Now, it doesn't have to be the bedroom. It could be the parlor if you live in the 1800s. It could be the den, family room, kitchen table, a shed in the backyard, just out on the street, as long as nobody sees you and you're covered in some kind of tent clothing or, I don't know, a poncho. But it helps you. It helps you if you can't do what you want to do and have the right performance with your partner, not your business partner. I'm not talking about two lawyers going at it, which is possible. I mean, who knows? Again, kids probably shouldn't be listening because this doesn't really apply to you. You could just do a video game or something while I'm talking. At BlueChew.com, you can get the first chewables. These are chewables. Do you understand? You can get it going with a chewable thing with the active ingredients sildenafil or tadalafil. They're the same ingredients as in Viagra or Cialis, which are my cousin's names. Now, BlueChew.com has affiliated physicians that work with you to find the dosage and active ingredient that is best for you. Because you want to do the right combo. You don't want to just like down a whole bunch of them thinking that's going to go and you're going to have a half wood. And these are chewables, so they can work faster. They actually do work quicker than the other way of taking these other meds. And the chewables from Blue Chew can be taken on a full or an empty stomach, which is pretty cool. It can be done even if maybe you're wearing a fanny pack. Online physician consult is free. So it's cheaper than those other two like Viagra and Cialis. And it only takes a few minutes to connect with a BlueChew.com affiliated physician. And if you qualify, you get prescribed online quickly. That means you talk to them, you go on BlueChew.com. That, by the way, that's spelled BlueChew.com. I almost thought for a minute it was some kind of cheese, but it's not. It's a good, wonderful company. And it's a .com, so you know it's authorized. So anyway, if you qualify after talking to an affiliated physician, you get prescribed online very quickly. There's no in-person doctor to visit. That can be awkward. Hey, doctor, I can't perform. And he goes, I have seen your work. I agree. And no awkward conversations like I'm having right now. No waiting in line at a pharmacy. You know what happens there. I mean, I don't want to be around a bunch of people and they know what I'm waiting for and then someone yells it out. They always say that. Who wants the Viagra? And 9 people raise their hands. Anyway, it ships directly to your door in discreet packaging. It's not in pink rainbows and it doesn't rattle. The chewables from BlueChew.com are made in the USA, an American product that you can eat and then get it up for the USA. That's what I'm saying. Go America. Salute with what you got. Blue Chew gives you confidence in bed every time. Did you hear that? I'm underlining that. Blue Chew gives you confidence in bed every time. You can be alone. You can be confident alone, right? You and your partner will love it. You chew it and do it. That's right. I'm rapping. Okay, here's a great deal for you guys. This is more exciting than anything I've said because I know this is interesting material, but it's something that I'm telling you about. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first order free when you use promo code BOB. That's right. My name is the promo code Bob. Just pay $5 shipping. So that's BlueChew.com and the promo code Bob. And you're going to really be happy. You're going to have the best summer and fall and winter and spring when the flowers bloom and your petunias arise. So BlueChew.com, that's BLUE Chew.com, promo code Bob. I recommend it. I'm telling you to get it. Take them. Call and get them. Okay, now, so people might not know this, but you were always close. Your friends, you've stayed friends with forever. And I know there's many of them, but would you say that Carl Reiner, Mel Brooks, who,
Yeah.
and who would be the fourth? Is there a fourth of the triumvirate?
Well, actually, if you hit on something, or reminded me of something, 105 years ago, I got a call. I knew the guy who owned Caesar's Palace. I have no idea who owns it today, but I knew it then. It's great. This a lot of years ago. And he called me one day, or we were on the phone one day, and he said, Norman, we have two homes, one in Palm Springs and one at La Costa, that are for high rollers. I know you're not a high roller, but they're empty a lot of the time. They're fully staffed. And all you have to do is call my office anytime to see if one is empty. And you're my guest. Each home has 5 bedrooms and fully staffed, as I repeat. I called him one day and I said, is the house in Palm Springs open? I'm thinking of going down. He said, yeah, it's open. I invited Carl and Mel and Larry Gelbart, who was one of the great, perhaps the greatest of the comedy writers.
MASH.
And
Dom DeLuise.
And Dom DeLuise. And the 5 couples went down to Palm Springs. And we had such a great time and laughed so much that I don't know how many years we went to each of those 2 places twice a year. The 5 couples got together. There was never a 6th couple. There was never 4. It was always the 5 couples. There were weekends that we would arrive by 10 o'clock Friday. Friday night, everybody was there. Earlier usually, but we'd wake up the next morning in bedclothes and laugh so hard that we got dressed to go home on Sunday evening, and we never got out of our bedclothes.
It was a mini quarantine.
But we were imprisoned by laughter.
Right.
My God, how we laughed. And I know that those weekends added a good deal of time to my life. Saget, I'd like to talk for about 35 minutes about you. Because I think you're an extraordinary guy. Funny as hell. Dear and sweet as can be. And interesting. Just so interesting. It's a great combination.
Well, you're an example that, when I met you, first thing, thank you. I don't know what to say. All you do is get me all verklempt. I was standing in front of you when Book of Mormon came to L.A., and Casey Nicolau was directing, and it was with Josh Gad and Andrew Reynolds, and you had seen it in New York. I'd seen it in New York, but I wanted to go to the premiere in L.A., and you were behind me, and we weren't close. And this is, I guess, must have been 8-10 years ago. Must have been.
How many years ago?
8 or 10, I think, the L.A. I don't know. Maybe less. How long ago was that? Did you turn off again?
No, I'm here.
Okay, good. I just meant emotionally. Did you turn off?
Yes. No, God, no.
And I was standing in front of you, and we were just getting ready to watch it, and I said to you, because you had worked with Matt and Trey on South Park as a consultant, which I have a lot of younger people listening to this, and they hear South Park, their ears perk up, and they were smart enough to go, would you be a consultant? But before I ask you that question, I just turned to you and said, did you have something to do with this? Meaning, did they send you the script? Did you have some input? Because you are one of the comedy gurus of life. And you said no, but by God, I wish I had. How did you get involved?
That's what I would say. That's what I was thinking as you were forming that sentence.
Exactly, because that's what's amazing about you and what you've taught me is you're consistent. If someone asks you a question from 20 years ago, the same question now, the answer is the same. And that's how that's how people know themselves and go, I wouldn't say that, or I would have not said that, or it's exactly what I said, because that's how I feel right now. Okay, so let me ask you. People want to know. It always says Norman Lear on South Park, and it's they're on.
What do you mean it says Norman Lear?
You are a consultant on South Park.
No, I was. I mean, I spent a weekend with the guys.
Yeah, I think your name's still on the credits, Norman.
If honest to God, if that's true, I never knew it.
I believe your name is still on the credits, and people will let me know. But I've watched, 10 years I was watching it straight. It always had your name on it. So tell me, why would they have this? First thing, they're both unbelievably brilliant, correct?
Absolutely.
What was your connection, and how did it happen? Did they reach out to you?
I spent, let me just say what I remember before I try to remember what I can't remember. I spent 3 days with them. They were on a retreat in Texas or New Mexico or someplace. They invited me to come down. I spent 3 days with them. That was it. And I have visited their studio and spent a little time with them. And but if I was helpful at all, it was in those 3 days where I was just simply a guest, listening largely, as I remember. I can't take the least bit of credit for South Park, not the least. And nobody knows it better than them, and they have a glorious woman. Only because
is it Debbie Liebling?
No.
Oh.
Who is the producer and runs everything there.
Right, I should know that.
I'm ashamed of myself, and I'm going to hate this because I love her.
I'm going to Google this for both of our sakes.
And Garofino.
That's
it.
It is.
And Garofino.
And how do you beat me? And I'm on Google because you're Norman Lear. You're Norman frickin' Lear.
It was it was me that forgot it. You.
Now let me. Asshole. Yes, but I mean, I couldn't even. My thumbs are too big for the damn keypad. But
And Garofino, she's a fabulous person.
Now back into that area, another brilliant person is Seth MacFarlane. Now, how have you mentored Seth? Did you spend 3 days with him?
I haven't mentored Seth at all.
He loves you.
I have adored him, and he has made me laugh as few people have in this lifetime. And I couldn't admire him more. We're good friends who rarely see each other.
Right. But you make a point now through this whole time of all this virtual stuff. Are you in contact with Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks?
I am, because Carl doesn't get out about, and I do, and so I visit him often. And I see Mel there now and then.
At your documentary, The American Masters, just another version of you, right? Yes.
Yes.
I was honored because I'd met Mel over the years many times, and his amazing wife, Anne Bancroft, was a big fan of mine. And when I met him 30 years ago, he was getting in a car, and Anne Bancroft came over and held my face and kissed me and said, "Mel, you love Bob. You love Bob. Tell Bob you love him." He says, "Get in the car, Anne." And she, and I'm like, "Let him go." She said, Mel, you love Bob. Will you tell Bob you love him? I love you. And then they got in the car. And then I was on Broadway doing a play, and I was a Drowsy Chaperone, and he was doing Young Frankenstein. And I was lucky to get the part, and he's Mel Brooks. And so I sat in a booth in a restaurant with him for 4 hours, and we had drinks, and we talked about everything. We talked about Anne, and we talked about so many things. He asked me to take over for Peter Bart, and I said, I can't dance. I mean, I'll show you the x-rays. I'll show you my knees. But he was, by
the way, that group of people that included Mel and Anne, the 5 people, we had a name that Carl invented called Jenenwelt, which in Yiddish means the other world. We called ourselves Jenenwelt.
Like it was its own village of some kind?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
there was a song, I believe you told me. Do you
There
know the
was a
song?
If I can remember the lyric, oh, Yenabel, 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 oh, Yenabel. That was the song. And we used to sing it with our pinky in the other guy's ear at this long table. Yeah.
Amazing. Repetition in comedy sometimes is at the right time. It's the best thing that exists. It's silly. I mean, Monty Python was based on that premise in many ways. Just say the same thing over and over again to the point of what makes us laugh and what will torture an audience. But they don't get tortured. They go along for the ride. But you also, people have to understand this. You really did make Spinal Tap happen. Would you say that's correct?
Yes.
So,
that's right. And Princess Bride.
And Princess Bride.
Yeah, these were both properties that Rob ached to make, and for it's hard to believe today that he couldn't get it made, and I helped.
So that's really interesting that he was this person who was your best friend's, one of your best friend's sons. He's on your show, which is the thing that changed television forever. And was it like a father-son? Was it like an uncle relationship because of the childhood you'd had with him?
Well, I knew him since he was, Carl and I met on Fire Island. We just happened to have houses about 80 feet from each other. And one summer, a great many years ago, and it was the summer when I was separated from my wife. I had one child, and she came out with me and she's exactly Rob's age. So I remember the first time I really got to know Rob, I walked into my living room and he was on his knees with Ellen, my oldest daughter, and he was teaching her how to play jack. And he was saying, no, that's after you drop the ball and then you pick it, then you tap it. He was sounding like his father and Mel and all the comics that used to come by the house in the evenings.
Right.
That summer at Fire Island. And I fell in love with him when he was 6 years old and knew him through all those years. I made All in the Family the first time, 1968, I think it was, and he was too young. It was only oh God, what an important part the Fates play in all of this.
And did they not? What happened? It was not picked up. You did a few of them.
It was not picked up. It had Carol O'Connor and Gene Stapleton, two younger people, and it was not picked up. And it was laughed at because I was in the room when they laughed, and I went to the focus groups and heard these lovely things that people had to say about it, but they didn't pick it up. And it was 3 years later when I had all but forgotten about it, when CBS had a new president, and he wanted to see that show, saw that tape, called me in, and this time I said, it has to be a 13-week guarantee. And it was. Bob Wood was his name.
Bob Wood.
Yeah.
So was Grant Tinker after him?
The Grant Tinker was CBS. That was NBC, I mean.
Oh, I see.
Grant Tinker was at NBC. This was CBS.
Why did I think he was at CBS? Oh, because he ran MTM when they were... Right. That's why I got confused, because that was CBS. That's amazing that he understood, that certain executives understood, because it was a show that people perceived that Archie's funny. You know, he says what I'm thinking. And yet I've watched many interviews with Carroll O'Connor. I got to meet him once, but that's not knowing the man. You knew the man. Yeah. And that what I had seen was that he had taken it pretty serious, and he was very sensitive to people laughing at Archie when he knew that he was playing a guy who had some real issues.
Mm-hmm.
Was that when you first came out, did it ever throw you that people were laughing at things that you would go, did you ever go, oh my God, I'm glad they're laughing, but I don't want them laughing at that because that's a racist comment done by
I never felt, I can't recall feeling that for an instant. Not ever. Not ever.
You just understood because you created that character to be an everyman.
My understanding of the way things went was that people were laughing at it. That meant they got it. And some were laughing at it simply because it was funny and they didn't get it.
Right.
But that's the way it is with theater. Everybody doesn't, people walk in and come out with their own understanding.
We're going to take one more quick break, and then we'll come back because I know you have things to do. And I'm going to buy you earpieces, but we'll take another very quick break for, I don't think earpieces, but we'll be right back. Okay, Norman,
when you say right back, you mean right back.
We're right back. It's like we never left. And we sold something. It was good. Whatever we sold was unbelievable.
It's good for mankind.
When did you decide the hat was the way to go? You didn't wear a hat all those years. I saw early pictures, and then you did, and it was always the sweetest face. You always knew how to pose. All the love was in that face when you would pose with that hat.
The hat. I don't remember. I've been married 3 times. My second wife walked into my study one day. I was growing bald and picking my scalp, as sitting in a room writing all day, or trying to write all day, or thinking I should be writing and feeling guilty therefore. But I had the habit of picking my scalp. So there was a little place where it was evident I was picking my scalp. My wife came in one day with a little boating hat, threw it on my head and said, "Don't take that off." So I started wearing it when I sat at my computer. Or it was a typewriter in those years. That's how long ago.
Right.
And I grew to like it. And we went to Mexico when our kids were really small. And we, with one of my daughters, we were riding horseback. And in the late afternoon, I came back from the horseback riding, having tucked the hat because of the wind and so forth under my saddle. And it wasn't there. And I'll never forget the couple of hours we went everywhere, still on horseback, looking over the ground we had covered. Never found the hat. And only days later, my wife and I were on a trip. We were in Paris, and we were in a shop, and above it there was a hat maker. Above the shop, second floor. 15 Rue de Faubourg. Gélo. I don't know whether you can see Gélo.
They're one of our sponsors now. I can see it good.
And my wife drew this little cap, and they made 6 for me, and I have 3 left. The other 3, I don't know where they are.
Maybe they're out. You got to get a horse and go look for them. Okay, I have to ask you this because you've been awarded so many things. You've been celebrated so much. You're a humble man. So here you go, getting the Kennedy honors, getting Peabody Awards, getting so many Emmys, so many Writers Guild Awards, many, many, many things. One, how do you look at all of those accolades? You must. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I just want to know what your feelings are about all of these, and is there anyone more significant than any other?
I think the first thing that rushes to mind is something we talked about a little while ago. I mean, today, you and I,
Yep.
with this lovely group of people, whoever are hearing us, over next. This time with you is as precious and priceless as any other moments in my life. I don't mean that they're all the same, that the difficult parts, the aggravating parts, the ill parts, the several divorces, all the pain of life too. I don't mean
Some divorces are more fun than others.
That's been true in my life.
Oh my!
I've had 2 divorces. But you met Lynn a little bit ago, or this lovely group met Lynn a little bit ago. At 32, 3 years, something like that. And I have nothing to complain about. But anyway, the answer to your question is, what's better than this time we've spent together?
Right.
It's as good as it gets.
It really is. It really is. I've never had, and I've always looked forward to talking to you. And I always look forward to seeing you. And then from here, I'll go hug my wife and I'll get to see her. And then I'll do some other stuff. And I try to make every moment count. I think most people are out there trying to live that life, but so many people have so much hardship that they can't even get past to enjoy a moment because like 4 things at once. Just when we're getting out, this happens or that happens or this happens. But it is relishing those great moments in a day, in the moment that, and what you're saying is correct. That was horrible. Okay, next. The next moment's going to be better.
Yeah.
Or that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Savor it, let it resonate, and then move on. And hopefully the next moment is wonderful.
Yeah. And with some understanding that it all adds up. It's
right.
all grist for the mill. It's fed you and made you what you are in the next moment.
And what I think people don't know and realize is that that are interested in you, and your book is one that people should actually go out and get right now, and it's called "Even This I Get to Experience," and that's exactly in tune with what you're talking about. This moment I get to experience, this life I get to experience. But you came out of nothing. You came out of what most people go, I'll never make it in show business, or I'll never make it as an athlete, or I'll never make it as a writer. And so what was the thing that turned you to this, coming out of a pretty difficult life?
You know what I think it was, Bob? And I bless that we're talking long enough for you to ask me this question that made me think of what I'm about to say now, because I think it's a cornerstone in my life and my career. I was 9 years old. My father made a series of mistakes, or one big mistake, and he was sent to prison. He was away for a little over 3 years. But the night that it was in the paper that he was in prison, and my mother was going to move. She couldn't stand to live where we were living. She was too ashamed. Anyway, there were a bunch of people over, and they were buying furniture. She was selling the furniture. And it might have been, not have been the night, but 3 nights later, whenever the hell it was all the one experience. And there were strangers in the house who were looking at, like, for example, it killed me, my father's red leather chair. You can't see it, but over there I have a red leather chair. I've never been without a red leather chair from the moment I could afford one, because that was the place I listened. My father and I sat in his red leather chair on Friday nights and listened to the fights, no television, radio, and listened to the fights from Madison Square Garden. He came, the Lone Ranger was his favorite radio show. He was in his red leather chair with me when we listened to the Lone Ranger. Anyway, in this situation, I'm 9 years old. He's in jail or prison, Deer Island, Massachusetts prison. And my mother is selling the furniture, and this strange guy who's there to buy something puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "Well, Norman, you're the man of the house now." And somehow, the gift of gifts from the heavens, I understood he was a fool. Telling a kid in this situation he's the man of the house now. And I later, I never forgot it and lived with it. But when I started to write, I thought it was the best example I could think of what I called the foolishness of the human condition. What a fool. You're the man of the house now. And that was the first major insight I think I had into there isn't a moment that is without some humor.
Yeah. My dad went through that. His father died of liver failure, but he was drinking. It was the Depression, and he was a tailor, and there was no business, and he had 5 kids, and you were a lot of siblings. How many total?
No, I just had one sister.
Ah, that's interesting. I thought more.
No.
Do you want more? Do you want me to see if I can get you? Maybe you could adopt.
I think it's late for that. But with Lynn, when you saw her, she was pregnant. I don't know if you knew that. She'll get a kick out of this.
Lynn's not pregnant. She's pregnant now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. We're gonna have triplets.
That's so great.
No. Yeah.
Congratulations. I can't wait. That'll be the headline for this episode.
I want to take all that back because there has to be somebody, given the foolishness of the human condition, who will have believed that. If I don't say,
right.
Kidding.
But there is no better father than you. So, I mean, what the heck?
Right.
Triplets would be awesome. So that was
there's nobody who enjoys it more, I'll tell you that.
Have you thought of, your autobiography and the documentary encapsulates who you are. I mean, you were shaped by so many things. Do you think serving our country, do you think that was another mark in your life that changed you forever to be a leader, to be able to do the kind of work that you did in the entertainment industry?
Well, you were talking about World War II there for a moment.
Yeah.
Because I flew in World War II. What comes to mind is it's hard to believe. I was a radio operator on a B-17. So I had a little booth that I sat in, which was next to the bomb bay doors. And I was the guy in the crew who, after we dropped our bombs, all I had to do was get up and look over into the bomb bay to let the pilot know that the last of the bombs had left the bay. He could close the doors.
Right.
So I looked down 30, we dropped bombs 35 times. It got credit for 52 missions. But I looked down those 35 times and saw the bombs leaving the bay and couldn't help imagining several of them or one of them hitting a home. And then I imagined the family sitting around the table. And I remember through grit teeth thinking, if not actually saying it into my mask, my oxygen mask, fuck them. I didn't care. And then an hour later, on the way home, free of aircraft and the missiles and so forth, asking myself if I really meant that. Could I? But I meant it when I felt it, when I said it to myself. Yes, I meant it. And then I couldn't believe, and can't believe as I repeat this, as I talk about it now, that I could have meant it each of those times. But in a sense, it's also part of the foolishness of the human condition.
Well, in order to do something like that, you have to disconnect from the emotion of what you're doing because you're trying to stop, at that time, Hitler and the Nazis. That's what you're doing. And in doing that, it's I was 4F. Couldn't even get drafted, But I mean, did you just feel it? You knew that as you processed it, you realized you had to disconnect and have that attitude.
I found a way to forgive myself, but I mean, I was fighting a war, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. But there was a part of me that understood that those people sitting around that table were people like me, like my family, like
human beings.
Human beings. And there was a split second in time when I could have seen them all dead. As a result of something I was contributing to.
I just wanted to say that there's so many people that are veterans that have never gotten over the fact that they dropped bombs, that they killed people, that they served our country. And it's very complex, and everyone's different, and different people have different ways to process. And you're just a very special man to have served our country, fought for our country, and been able to go this and next. Been able to, in a grand scheme of something so dramatic and so life-changing for so many people, for yourself as well. That never left you. I know you. It'll never leave you. But
no, it hasn't left me.
And then you're able to go next, and that's what survival is, and that is also growth. And you inspire me so much because at this very moment you are growing. You are. I've never.
No, that's the kind of sweetest thing you could say to me.
It's the truth,
and I think it's true.
Every time I see you and talk to you, there's unusual growth that most people don't possess. They can't. You're just a very unusual. Every 200 years, a Norman Lear comes along, but they'll never. There's only one version of you. But in closing, I just wanted to ask you the title, "Just Another Version of You." Is that what is? How do I interpret that? What is your meaning of that title?
Meaning, as human beings, we are all one, but we have to accept that we are not the same one.
Right.
And we are versions of one another. In each of us, we should be seeing the humanity of ourselves and every other.
And that's what's...
That's why, would I have, if somebody came to me a split second after I thought, the hell with them, when we dropped bombs, and asked me to sign a piece of paper that I would always feel that way, or that I would forever feel that way. I had to believe I wouldn't and couldn't. But the fact of my life is I've been never tested. And I don't know. But I think living with that is some help to understanding a little bit about who we are as a species and how important it is to feel about each other the way I feel about you at this moment.
Same as I feel about you. And same as I feel about all humanity and how we have to strive for goodness, because that is so what we're lacking. And hopefully this crazy time, as many have said, will be a reset and give a bigger percentage of the world somehow instill more love and less hatred, that we all went through something at the same time that didn't separate us, it unified us of our weaknesses. And then we can come out of it with strength, and all the heroes that have come out of this. And you, for me, are one of the greatest heroes of my whole life.
Oh, thank you. I love you too.
I love you.
This time together, and have a good life, everybody who's heard us and watched us.
And congratulations on the triplets. I know you'll be by Lynn's side, and I'll be buying outfits. I'll find out where you're registered. I love you so much, Norman.
Love you too, Bob.
Have a wonderful next moment, and I'll talk to you soon.
I'll talk to you a moment after that.
A moment right after. Bye-bye. Well, that was my friend, Norman Lear, and how lucky am I to have Norman Lear as a friend. What an amazing human being. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, because he is someone that we can all learn from. I recommend, if you haven't seen All in the Family, go back and watch all of it. Watch every single episode. Watch Sanford and Son. Watch Maude. Watch One Day at a Time on Pop right now. It's a wonderful, it's not even a reboot. It's an original, because it's a beautiful Latina version of the original show from years ago. There's so many wonderful things he did. Fernwood Tonight, Mary Hartman, responsible for, well, you heard, you listened. If you made it this far, you know what he's accomplished. He's just a very, a man that I aspire to be one day. So I got to get a hat. I guess I have to have a rash on my scalp, and I have to go bald. So then I'll be like him, and he's gonna have triplets, and he's 97. So he's gonna. He was like worried he's gonna get in trouble with Lynn. Why would you tell him I'm gonna have triplets? That would be amazing. That would actually be quite phenomenal. Well, that was my guest, the legendary, incredible, beautiful human being, and super awesomely, I'm using 12-year-old words, talented writer, creator. He's just an amazing human being. And I couldn't be luckier to call him my friend. And I'm glad you got to hear what he's like and his true philosophy of life. And that's all I got on this episode. Bob Saget's Here for You. Norman Lear's here for you. I think I should just turn this over to him and let him run it. Look at his Instagrams. Go on the Norman Lear at Instagram and follow this wonderful man and how he starts his day with appreciation, with maybe, I don't know, a toast with an egg on it, and some jam on something, and some delicious juice, or his first cup of coffee of the day. It is a lesson in appreciating the smaller things in life, because life is hard enough, right? So what I'm obligated to tell you to do is, of course, buy everything my sponsors suggest. And the other thing is to rate and review and subscribe to this podcast so you can get it, because it's always going to be morphing and changing. and we're going to have special guests that I adore, or I'm close with, or I'm extra special acquaintances with, and get to talk to you guys. So I'll be calling you guys. You'll check Instagram and Twitter, and there's a phone number up there on the top of the podcast thing up there, and you leave a message, and I will let you know on Instagram and Twitter when I'll be calling you guys, on Instagram stories and on Twitter. There's no Twitter stories. I mean, you don't have that many characters, but in our lives, we do. Anyway, why am I talking? We had Norman Lear. So thank you. This is, it's me. And I'm here for you. I'll see you next time.